Forging peace between Israelis and Palestinians may be the most difficult challenge of all. All prior administrations, from President Lyndon Johnson, have tried and bitterly failed. But I was not elected to do small things or shy away from big problems. My vision presents a win-win opportunity for both sides, a realistic two-state solution that resolves the risk of Palestinian statehood to Israel's security. Jerusalem will remain Israel's undivided, very important, undivided capital. And crucially, the proposed transition to a two-state solution will present no incremental security risk to the state of Israel whatsoever.
Gotten away from knowing and coming to the Lord.
Yeah, so
when both sides of the aisle is trying to destroy you.
Right. So we have to focus. We, as a people, it's our time. It's time to pull the reins on this thing and get it back in the stable, because right now it's running amok. Without us being in control, we've kind of just been coasting here lately. We've let them run the government, do as they will, and you can see now. Supposedly the brightest and the best up there in D.C. has basically got the country devastated. Mm-hmm. It's in the hole. Its allies are leaving. It is an absolute mess up there.
Yeah.
So
you might hate President Trump's guts, which we we feel like everybody else, but he needs prayer.
He does. And the only reason we do that is because the good Lord tells us. Because based on his actions, he wouldn't get that. But the good Lord tell you that. And yes, like I said, and for your best interest. That's what we get on them all the time, because we would say they despise African Americans so much in terms of them prospering in life that they would actually sink themselves just to not see you progress.
Their party has split over the decision on what to do with African Americans. Should we tell them they're Hebrews and send them back and give them back, or should we continue to keep them as prisoners?
Now that's a whole another can of worms, because they don't need to tell you. The information is out there. So if you get the information, but the moment somebody look like you tell you something and give you some information, somebody else,
that can't be true.
Somebody else who doesn't look like you can come right behind you and discredit it, and you'll fall right for it. You'll believe them. You don't care that this is a person who loves you, who look just like you and care for you, but you'll believe somebody else who
give you
torments
evidence of them saying this about you, who you are, and you still won't believe it. No. We had family members that told us that that couldn't be true. We told them, would you think Jesus was a white man? Yeah, Jesus was white. Okay, if you didn't know, I'm gonna put the picture. This is a picture that most African Americans grew up with in their house on the wall. It's a picture of Caesar Borgia. Okay, he was the son of the Pope. Okay, and he had a romantic relationship with Leonardo da Vinci, a homosexual relationship, and he painted him, and they took this picture and used it as Jesus Christ, because during the Crusades, the knights did not want to go and kill black folks that looked like the saints. So they painted a picture of Caesar Borgia's son and used that as a picture of Jesus, so they was able to go and kill black Hebrews, okay? And so that's the whole story about the Crusades, but we'll get into that maybe in another video. But yes, the original man, if you didn't know, was a black man. The Christ was black. He's not a white man, if you didn't know. So, come on.
But the thing, and a lot of people have a lot of problems digesting that, but you don't have a problem with digesting that somebody else told you he looked a certain way.
The man was in Africa and the Middle East. There's no white people over there at that time.
But like we say, you got to take it slow. Everybody's not ready to receive that. The number one thing you need to do now is we need to pray, and we need to find a solution to this. And the best way to do that is, like we say, by prayer. You need to pray for your family. You need to pray for the nation, the president. Everybody need prayer right now because the devil is extremely busy.
Devil is alive.
And right now, people are out there conspiring to basically
the whole thing is a conspiracy.
Destroy humanity.
To keep the secret about who you are. You know, that's just like, we were talking about that earlier.
What's that?
If you had a best friend and the best friend was, boyfriend or girlfriend was cheating on them, would you get angry at your friend for telling you the information that you need to know? Like the Democratic Party is, they in bed with other people, bruh. Okay,
right?
It's not they not your man or your woman.
Well, a lot of people have, just like you say,
the Republicans
using that metaphor. They're having a hard time dealing with that because they basically devoted their whole life to believing that concept that the Democratic Party has been for them. They've fought for them. They've done different things for them. But if you look at it deeply, you will see that if they did do something that you benefited from, more than likely it was by default.
Yeah, or it's about getting paid. It's about money, the economy.
It was something more so for them or for another subgroup.
And then a small portion of your population received benefits, while the vast majority of the rest of them did not. It harmed them. That's why we tell you this socialism program for white folks. Now they're trying to put it on white folks. We told you that's not a good program. That's the program they implemented that in the 94 crime bill, which was a funnel to prisons to surveil you, to keep you as labor. We didn't just tell you that just because.
How can you have somebody influencing you who come out of the projects, who don't have an education, but you spend the majority of all your time listening to them because they can sing or dance or something?
I told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear. You'll find that oftentimes Negroes are as much on guard around Negro interviewers, who usually represent the bourgeois element of Negroes, as they are on guard around whites. Usually Negroes know that when this bourgeois Negro walks through the door, he is not doing something that he's initiated himself, but he's involved in something in which the white man is the absolute author of and has sent him to the Negro community for some information. And when they give that Negro some information, usually they give him the information that they want him to take back to the white man, because that's who he's going to take it back to.
Well, the key for African Americans is that sin is profitable. And for us, because you don't know the good Lord, you ain't following His word, you ain't following His instructions for your life, you do stuff that make you susceptible to all this foolishness. You do stuff that make you susceptible for them to put you in jail, for them to abuse you, for them to abort your children, for all these different things, for them to give you a vaccine or to slip something in for getting some kind of disease or something like that. So
that's why they promote sin in our community,
right?
Because if you stop...
Through who? Through those so-called what? Celebrities.
Yeah, so if you stopped sinning, if you stopped having sex before a marriage, you wouldn't be having abortions. You wouldn't be having all these kids that require daycare. You would be able to have a husband and wife where you just have the kids in your marriage. Your wealth would grow.
Right, and Trust me, everybody done partake, everybody done did all kind of things. There's nobody here that's sinless. So if you don't know, you do it. And some people say they enjoy doing stuff like that. So, but when you look at it, if you take time and stop and think that there's a reason for you why you shouldn't be partaking in premarital sex.
They tell you, Boys of Hood, why they got alcoholic, what is it, a spirit and wine place on every corner in the black neighborhood.
Right.
You know, why don't they invest in the schools? And they're not trying to do those things, even though they tell you in the front they are.
You have so many churches and liquor stores in the African American community. Constant. I mean, just piling up. But even with all those churches, you still don't have any power in the community. You don't have anything substantial that's taking place that's positive in the community.
Oh, that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just a lot going on. But right now, our focus have to be on where do we go from here. And the first thing, like we say, you need to find the good Lord, get in his word, and get prayed up so he can give you some guidance on how to move. And then we have to move as a group, because everybody moving against you as a group. They dividing you, they slipping into y'all, like you like to say, they sliding in your DM, they sliding in your group.
Right, the idea is surveillance, so that's the big issue.
Right.
They're going to be surveilling you. And the chip, what does it do? They had even a movie about it. When you, what was it, Tom Cruise was in the movie where they were surveilling even people's thoughts before they did the action. They arrested them. Wherever they go, they surveil them all times. That stuff is real. I just told you.
New and exciting research is pouring out of universities like MIT and the University of California in San Francisco. So what is a brain-computer interface?
It's a way in which a computer can take information directly from the brain without you having to type or speak it in and translate that into some kind of action.
Greetings, world. The National Security Agency has developed a new type of technology capable of reading a person's mind and implanting artificial thoughts. The technology is called remote neural monitoring, RNM, and has been developed under the guise of detecting and investigating crimes before they happen. RNM works remotely to control the brain in order to read and detect any criminal thought taking place inside the mind of a possible perpetrator, EBL. The EMF brain stimulation system has been designed as radiation intelligence, which means receiving information from inadvertently originated electromagnetic waves and the environment. The interesting part about this is that the entire exercise is carried out without any physical contact with the subject. The EMF emissions from the brain can be decoded into current thoughts, images and sounds in the subject's brain. It sends complicated codes and electromagnetic pulse signals to activate evoked potentials inside the brain, thus generating sounds and visual images in the neural circuits. With its speech, auditory and visual communication systems, RNM allows for a complete audio-visual brain-to-brain link or a brain-to-computer link, and it also features the transmission of specific commands into the subconscious, producing visual disturbances, visual hallucinations and injection of words and numbers into the brain through electromagnetic radiation waves. Also, it manipulates emotions and thoughts and reads thoughts remotely, causes pain to any nerve of the body, allows for remote manipulation of behavior, controls sleep patterns through which control over communication is made easy. This can be used for crime investigation and security management. Concerns. With all the given benefits of RNM for tracking the illicit and treacherous activities, there are many concerns and risks being pointed out by human rights activists and other scientists. The agencies of human rights around the world have criticized RNM as a violation of basic human rights because it violates privacy and the dignity of thoughts and activities of life. Several countries have protested against it and refer to it as an attack on their human and civil rights. The scientists protesting against the use of RNM believe that people who have been implanted involuntarily become biological robots and guinea pigs for RNM activities in the guise of security. This is an important biological concern related to microchip implantation, which is a hidden technology using microwave radiations for the control of the mind.
It's so far out there. It sounds so crazy that you like, they got to be crazy. These folks crazy talking this stuff out.
I don't know what black people think.
Take your time, Look at some of the technology that's out there. Most people hadn't even had opportunity because they too busy looking at entertainment.
Who knew they ain't putting that on the news, are they?
Yes, but the technology is extremely advanced and they developing it. And African Americans don't even have a clue.
Just give me my vaccine.
Right. While we were sitting back trying to survive, they was building nuclear bombs. And I'm sure most African Americans at that time couldn't even conceive a weapon like that. So that kind of stuff, that's what they be doing. That's what's going on. They're always at it. You ain't building rockets to go in space. They doing that. They always up to something, looking,
seeking
exploring
knowledge around God,
Right.
not through Him. What do we call that? That's Freemasons, metaphysical theory, all that crap.
Trying to keep control, trying to dominate, and stay ahead of the game. It's right now for us. It's important that we take care of us and counter anything that's meant to harm or slow us down or keep us from prospering. And right now, you know what that is. That's being distracted by foolishness and going for people who say, "Oh, we got your best interest. We the Democrats." Or Trump with his foolishness, talk about he got all the black support.
Yeah, as much as you don't like Trump right now,
And he make it very easy.
He's the only thing separating you from taking that chip in your body currently.
Yes, because he's an outlier. So they having a hard time, I guess, trying to corral him. He's not going along with they typical system.
Yes.
But when you get the Democrats, like you see when we had Obama was very smooth, and black folk fell asleep with him because you thought you could trust him. He talked.
You thought he looked like you.
Right, and he talked very eloquently, unlike Trump. And while he was doing all that, he lured you to sleep.
Singing all the Al Green songs.
And he put forth all these different initiatives.
And all went around the world, publicly, touting gay rights and didn't do one single thing for black people.
Right.
The healthcare system was for everybody. We're talking about he didn't demand apology for slavery, didn't demand reparations.
I think that's on us. We didn't demand that.
He didn't. He went in Africa and gave United States money for entrepreneurs in Africa for fighting terrorism in Africa. Nothing to fight terrorism over here to protect black, because when you hang and kill African American, that's terrorism. Okay.
Right.
So he didn't do any of that. He didn't give black people entrepreneurial money. He didn't do anything.
No, he did not.
Gay rights. Nothing for black people.
And when he went over to Kenya and met with the Kenyan president, they had a conversation, and Barack was over there talking about human rights in terms of the rights to protect the LGBT community. But at that same time, African Americans over here in the state were getting demolished, killed by the police, killed by other citizens.
Yeah, terrorism by the police.
There was nowhere near
hangings.
The same energy, the same just same exuberance to go after that.
Anything.
Right. So, but when he was over there in Kenya, he was very adamant about it. But what I did appreciate from the Kenyan guy, and he told him that they don't share the same ideas.
That's not our culture, bro.
Right. And as for him and his people, that's a non-starter, bro. So that's how you have to handle that.
But they still got all that money, didn't it?
Right. And so I don't care about him. If he want to deal with that kind of stuff, he can. But brother, your first priority is us, these African Americans living in this country.
Yeah,
right
in
here.
fact, African American people got poorer.
93%.
Lost more jobs.
93% of the African American vote went to President Obama in 2012. That's the highest percentage, I'm sure, in history for any president that's
and
secured.
didn't do one thing for your constituents.
Nope. And y'all didn't even ask him for anything.
Gave more money to bail out rich, top 1% of people, businesses.
Then we came back out and voted him back in again.
Without showing any evidence or signs that he did anything.
Right.
Because he looked like you.
But that's the old school though. We ain't rolling like that.
So
right
that's
now.
the difference with Biden. The young people are saying no. You have a young.
Right.
Also, the elders.
Right.
Biden has also had a long, extensive history on getting rid of Social Security. So he locks up black people and he wants to get rid of your Social Security.
But why all they care about is never Trump. Get rid of Trump. I could care less about Trump than anything that he stands for.
Trump is horrible. Did he tell you he's getting rid of your Social Security? Did he tell you he's locking you up?
Right. So you can't look at that and say, we hate Trump so much, we'll let this guy over here stab us in the back just because we hate Trump. Don't be silly. Take time out and look at things unemotionally. Joe Biden is going to get in there, and he is definitely going to make changes to that Social
the Democratic
Security.
Party slogan is, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
Right.
So they get nestled up to you to get their vote and then imprison you and stuff. Come on, you need to start waking up.
Just look at get both of the candidates and dig back in their history. Stop just seeing a person and then just say, oh, that's my candidate, and you don't do any background check on it. I guarantee you right now, probably 75% of the people who say that if they was polled, they're going to vote for Joe Biden, don't even know his voting history. Don't know nothing he stands for. All you know is that he was vice president under Obama. That's good enough.
Well, black folks, I'm talking to you. In Revelations, it says that that the mark of the beast will be implemented. Okay, we're seeing signs of these things are coming through, and it says there will be a man, the Antichrist, that will turn it over to a globalized system.
And you see, they keep telling you, can y'all please just use your card? Don't come in here with no cash. We don't want cash.
Yeah. In China, those people have to scan their phones to get in everywhere. Each store, each, when they get into the apartment complexes, everywhere they go. And so if contact tracing is surveillance, that's what they keep telling you they want to do. Bill and Melinda Gates, on their top of their thing, it says they want to surveil you, surveil the virus.
Yeah, this stuff is just totally out of hand. But we got to stay prayed up. We got to stay positive. And like
are you willing to deuces on that thing?
You may have to vote down ballot, but we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to make our impact felt. Right now, the fear is that Donald Trump is doing so horribly that Joe Biden is taking the lead so significantly. He won't really have to pander to the African American vote.
Notice he's not coming out saying a darn thing. Why? Because he can't withhold it in. He's a staunch segregationalist.
Right. So no matter how much you you have disdain for Trump and dislike him, you don't need him to fall so low that Joe Biden, he walk into it, because if anybody who don't need support wins something, they could care less about your interests once they get there, because you didn't help them get there. Trump just totally gave the man the chair.
We're not telling you who to vote for. We typically are just trying to tell you history.
Right.
Okay? And so the history of these folks is horrible. And neither side is for black people.
Yep.
One side's way worse than the other. But, they both killing folks.
Yep.
You need to pray to the Lord, and we need to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yes, I think the country was completely lured to sleep. We thought the economy was doing good. You thought everybody was balling. But all it was a bunch of credit. Everybody was just credited up, mortgaged up, debted everywhere. Just debt. Now it's the rooster's coming to hatch. You can't do it no more.
And now the white folks are suffering and they're crying out.
They pulling the debt out the system, credit left. And when the banks ain't lending and ain't nobody giving you credit, them credit cards tighten up, and you ain't got the money to purchase, then you really see how broke you are. Then you'll be willing to listen. Then you'll turn off Cardi B. You'll turn off all these celebrities.
Yeah, then you'll cry out to the Lord.
And they're going to be crying out too, because they ain't going to have no money. They're going to realize they wasn't nothing but a bunch of tools. So it's time for us as a people to get our mind right and get serious. Get some real assets. Find out how we can move in this world. I think that's the first step we need to do, because it's a lot more to it that's taking place.
Yeah, these things are biblical. So 400 years, black folks had to deal with this, and biblically, that was our curse, because we didn't do right with the Lord.
Right.
Now these curses are falling back on white folks that did these things. A lot of them are unbeknownst to who the people were, who are Black Hebrews were. But nevertheless, if you came to God, you shouldn't have been doing that to anybody.
But if the curses are up in terms of the Hebrew folk, which is the African Americans, and they're starting to turn on the people who enslaved you, those people are going to be getting more desperate. Because if you had to endure and live the lifestyle that we did, and you're not living as comfortable as you did before, they're going to be more desperate. So you can't afford to sit around and relax and think they're going to be taking it easy, and you just going to let the government happen and do. Letting Trump sign executive orders, you ain't pushing back, you ain't saying anything. I mean, you just going to get further in the hole. It's a mess up there, I'm telling you.
White folk, they split the Republican Party. I'm saying they already tried.
They realize a lot of them are woke, and they realize that there's some craziness going on, and their way of life is definitely in danger. And the ones who are really in control are pushing that thing. They trying to get richer because they getting richer every time a calamity hits. They get richer.
Yeah, so that was the reason why they started allowing Jerusalem to build the third temple. They know at the beginning of building the third temple, that starts the time clock when God says it's time's up. And 2020 is the mark of the 400 years. All this is prophesied, so nobody knows how it's going to end, because in Daniel's they say the book of Daniel's, God shuts the book up, so we don't know the end. Nope. All we do is can see the signs. Get right with God.
That's it.
Stuff's getting crazy.
Just keep him in your heart and know he got you at the end of the day, but you need to do your part every day. Get up and pray and thank the good Lord and seek him out. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't have him in these end days, and you trying to get by with that foolishness, with all that astrology, tarot card reading, all these foolish religions, believing in a man who just is silly and got all these crazy ideas, who could die tomorrow, he ain't got no power. Come on, man, get your mind right, get your heart right. Come on back home to the Lord where you're supposed to be, where the real power is and the real wisdom. And we could turn this thing around, but we got to do something, because right now with Trump and Biden together, boy, that's a bad tandem now.
Trump just seems like he wants to be liked. Well, Trump's family is new money.
Well, right now old money
don't like him.
Running a country or a corporation that size, I don't really care about what your emotional issues are.
That's the thing.
I need you to be operating in power and getting this place on point, taking care of everybody who live here. That needs to be your number one agenda.
And why Republicans not giving that second stimulus out? That ain't got nothing to do with Biden.
Yeah. Well, that stimulus better hurry up, because folk, that little change that they had stored up, all that little credit they had, is running out fast.
Unemployment runs out when?
It runs out on the 25th of this month.
The extra $600.
Yep. So you'll be living off basically the state unemployment that they give you.
And a lot of states are going to get ready to go bankrupt because they can't afford to take care of every man, woman, and child.
Yeah. So it's time to focus now. Put all that distractive stuff down. And get with it. If you got time to watch foolishness, you got time to educate yourself. And that goes for us and everybody else involved. So that's where we're going to leave it at. We thank y'all so much for tuning in. And like we say, keep the good Lord first, and we're going to be just fine. And if you have anything to share, any comments, please leave them below. We would highly appreciate it. We would love to hear what you had to say. Anything pertaining to the conversation, feel free. And we thank you again. Go ahead and subscribe, though. Don't forget to do that.
Subscribe. We bring you great topics and discussions that you want to hear.
Yes, we just real folk talking real stuff. That's all. Y'all have a blessed evening. Good night.